Hey, hello. Ben here with Studio on the Lake. So here's what we got going. The challenge is still going on. They were getting ready to start that. It would appear that I need to find a 10-year-old. I got a 10-year-old grandson who's coming here shortly next month, and he can help me with my technology because my microphone has been acting stupid here in DaVinci Resolve, and it's just a little touch on the annoying side. So the challenge is going on. We've got a whole bunch of people that responded to that. We've got a couple new people. Joanne wants to get in on it. Welcome, Joanne. She's a relatively new viewer to all of us. And then Mike, and I won't give Mike's full name in there, but it looks like Jordy's going to be involved in it. What you're seeing there is not the spirit fish. I'm sharpening a hand chisel as I'm playing around. I did that fish in the background as another video, and it's going to be mounted on a piece of driftwood. It turned out fairly nicely. But we've got Jordy's involved, so the challenge is to carve or create a spirit whale. It can be a sculpture, it can be a carving, chainsaw carving, hand carving, power carving, you name it, whatever you got. So Paul over at Wood Psyche is going to get involved in that. I'm still waiting on BAP out of over Ireland there. I can carve. And Kevin at Sticks and Stones hasn't got back to me. But we've got about 5 people, so I'm going to take a couple weeks off here. I'm going to post a few videos, and you'll see me do those. I've got about 3 of them. I think I'll space them out. I'm going to head out Spokane direction here for about 10 days. So should be fun. This morning, Monday morning, I got up and I kind of wanted to do a fallen angel, and then, I didn't. I was looking at this piece of cottonwood bark that came from Jordy over at Carving Fusion, and I wanted to carve something in there. And I was thinking about an angel for some reason, and I thought a fallen angel. And it was meant as so I was just thinking of the few good people in the world that I'd known, and how life had treated them to some degree. But since that time, so I kind of carved this with an angel that was kind of down on there, on the top of a rock. And then a friend of mine told me that, hey, you missed the point. Fallen angel was someone who was cast out of heaven. So yeah, I guess I blew it. Oh well. So there's some fun stuff at the end of this. It's relatively short. I don't want to torture you guys too bad. And I wish I need to switch pencil or get a smaller Sharpie go on that pencil. I can see it, but you can't. So initially I carved a lady in there. There's going to be a wing up to the side. In my left hand there, you see I've got my Oz 2 handpiece. That's running about 40,000. It has a switch you can flip on it and go to 50, but I very rarely go to 50 with it. And then it has a saber tooth burr in there, a yellow spear point. I am running dust collection. It's on the right side over there. This cottonwood bark is terribly dusty and red, and I'm sure it's probably not good for you. Dust doesn't tend to bother me too much. But I have a fan that sits on the camera stand over to my left there, and if I forget to turn it on, sometimes the dust will build up. So this cottonwood bark is hard to get. It's what Jordy calls dinosaur bark, and this section here is just a piece that I had cut off of probably a spirit man, if I were a betting. So it's going to be fun to see these people starting to come in with their carvings. Um, Matt said he thought it might be interesting. Um, We've got Pete Blair has started posting some videos. He's built several things for BAP and Jordy and whatnot, and he's kind of a tinker. I think his site is Mad Scientist. I put it down below, so there's a shout out to Pete Blair. Um, he's kind of a tool fiddler guy, and a lot of fun. So you see, I got this carved out. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with you, but now I've got a ruby burr in there. I'm undercutting the wing. I initially put one wing up, and if you hang till the end of this thing, you're going to see what you can do to a carving if you don't like the way it's turning out. So it kind of has kneeling on a rock. There you can see the outline of the girl. She has her right wing. Um, let's say this was a cliff background, and then her right wing is up above you. That'd be stage left, I guess, right? Uh, who knows? All too confusing. But you'll see me do a little bit of the burning on that. I go ahead and put all the feather detail in, and again, this is kind of just mindless fun. I've got a video on a little spirit face that I did, a small one. Patterned it off for one that Jordy sent me years ago. Uh, the best spirit face ever he sent me was a little 4-inch piece of flaked off cotton bark, and it was just awesome. And of course, it got burned up in the fire. I was sitting out there next to my carving chair. Hey, the wood burners that you see me use, I use a wood burner as a stop cut primarily. This is from JPL Enterprises, and this is a dual burner. I'm running out of pins. I need to send 4 or 5 pins back over to Pat in Minnesota there. And unfortunately, he's going to keep those. He's a small guy operator. He's the one that made my power carvers, but he quit making those a couple of years ago, about when I needed them. And I diamond honed the end of that, and then I stropped it. What will happen is they'll sit there for 2 or 3 months, and then after I send them, the pin's about $20 if you start out with the pen, and it's called an Ultima burner, and the pen is like $20, and there's 2 of them on there, and they're heavy duty, and you can get any shape you want on those. I get about 6 months a year worth of use out of it, but you send him back to him, and he will re-silver solder a tip of your choice. You don't even have to have the same tip in it after you wear one out for $7, and obviously the shipping. But you'll have to give him a call a couple months down the road, and he'll say, "Oh yeah, I pulled those out today," and then he'll proceed to talk for an hour about how you're abusing your pens, and he put them under a microscope and found that you're not sharpening them right and whatnot. So, but it's all good fun. And if you can't stand profanity, you probably don't. You want to make that as short a conversation as possible. But it's kind of fun. So I'm going to do partial on this wing, and you've seen me do feathers before. That wing up above, when you hang around till the end, you're going to see part of a whale that is not the spirit whale. I haven't started that yet. I do have some ideas for it. But there's how that's starting to come out. And now I've got a round ruby burr on there. Again, that's still in the Oz 2-hand piece. It's a 3/32 collet that I run in that. Um, and I run a 1/8-inch collet in a Ram I-Cube, which is about a third the price of the other. So here you see me burning in. When I'm done burning this, I'm going to take a brass brush. Someone had asked a question about that, and I'll take and then kind of scrape off the char. It leaves real nice little lines and definition. I used this on my bird competition birds many years ago. With a little work, you can make these feathers, contour them and stone them and whatnot, and then burn them. You can make them look just like a real feather. And that's part of the fun of this. So interestingly enough, I'm not digging this. I went ahead and finished it, and then I'm putting the splits in now. But I finished this, and I'm not going to painfully make you watch all of that. And I didn't like that upper wing. This is probably three times the speed. At least, yeah, three looks to be reasonable. People talk about how can you stand to do the detail. Well, it's not necessarily detail. It's actually quite relaxing, and I'm not running the pen straight. I'm doing kind of a little, as Jordy would say, a swooping action. So this is kind of getting swooped, and then I'm rotating that pen back and forth. It appears I left a lot more in this than I thought. Hey, the challenge is going to be kind of fun, and the intent, as I've talked about, there's that wire brush. Um, we'll do a drawing of all the channels. I've been debating doing a live one. I may or may not. I'm not real keen on being on camera per se. So, but that's one of the wings, and there's a quick rundown with I'm stoning the second one. The girl is fairly detailed in this. And you can see I'm putting in the hair. This whole thing is going to get a coat of um, just furniture polish wax, uh, Johnson's base wax, for lack of better reference. So I made it kind of like she's hanging on partially off a cliff, and this was just something I saw this morning, and there's really no design to this. We've talked about it before. Sign your carvings; it's kind of fun, and date them. Um, and it's kind of neat when you. I mean, I got a bunch of carvings. My father-in-law recently came back from out east to the Midwest, and he brought. I'm going to do a special on his carvings. He does wonderful, wonderful carvings. But he brought back, a couple hundred carvings, and it's amazing. And in the carvings that were some of the early carvings that I did um, and gave to them when I first started carving 40 years ago. There's a Santa, a Viking. It's kind of fun to see those. So once again, I was told that a fallen angel was not represented really the way I had it in my head. I was kind of thinking of a person of grace uh, who had come upon hard times or had a rough row in life. So there it is, finished with um, the wax on it, and it just needs a little buffing. And I'm looking at it here, and I'm not digging it. This is a day later. So I'm staring at this thing a day later, and I'm thinking I don't like it. And what I don't like is the way this wing comes up. So here's where you need to be brave. All right. So I don't like that wing. I decided I'm going to make that part of the background, kind of cliff face behind that, silhouetting the angel, the gal. Initially, that's not really what I came up with. So I thought, well, I can fix this a little bit. And this wing looks to be put on wrong or backwards. It was too chunky or something. So I tried to shape it down and see what I could do with that. So the moral of the story is don't be afraid uh, when you look at something the next day and find that it needs something. Um, Go ahead and do it. You're not going to hurt anything. And certainly, if I hadn't been filming this, I could change this 100 times, and no one would be the wiser. So I'm looking at the shape of this, and it's still not working for me. In fact, I'm not liking. I'm thinking maybe if I bring the girl down a little bit, that I can fix that upper wing. So this is almost like recarving this whole damn thing, but it's kind of fun, and it's fun to show you that once something is done, it's not necessarily done. You can put it away. Now, when I'm painting, I have a tendency to overwork stuff, and it's better if you, in carving, the same thing. Stop. Some of the best advice is quit. All right, so this isn't working for me. So now I'm thinking, okay, I can get a wing down here on the left-hand side. I can droop it over the edge of the cliff there, and I'm going to make the angel generic. I'm going to take the facial features out. So without the pain of showing you, um, there's what it eventually came out like, and I apologize. It's terrible, terrible photography. This is a whale. It is not the spirit whale, not part of the contest. So stand by for those. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks a lot. This has been Ben with Studio on the Lake.